So the Game Awards has gone and went again, and this year was not even that good. This Game Award was relatively weak this time around, no matter how many people disagree with me in the comments of my previous video on whether or not it was good or bad. But I think we can all agree that there is an argument to be had if the Game Awards is rigged. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't really say it's rigged towards anyone, it's just up to the shitter journalists that decide what Game of the Year is, instead of letting the communities of those games prop their game up, give examples, and let everyone else decide what Game of the Year is. This is why I choose not to take the Game Awards seriously and only watch it for the game announcements. And even then, this year's game announcements, in my eyes, weren't really worth it, but a lot of people seem to be very interested in Blade. And the God of War Ragnarok DLC. If you're a God of War fan, you're in for a good time. But we're not here to talk about games, we're here to talk about fanboys saying that the Game Awards is rigged. So if the Game Awards is truly rigged or biased towards anyone, let's ask ourselves the question, which company would that be? We would have to look at who has the most awards, who has the most Game of the Years, and who commonly gets picked for those positions. Because I don't think PlayStation fanboys are gonna like it, because it's pretty obvious who the answer is. It's either From Software or PlayStation. So after checking out the Rewind tab on the Game Awards official website, I came to the conclusion that it was PlayStation, because they have neck and neck with From Software. So this argument of PlayStation being rigged or targeted to get out of the Game Awards this year around, I think is completely bullshit. Because what this really shows is that the Game Awards is incredibly biased towards Sony games and From Software. So I don't know why PlayStation fanboys are so upset over the Game Awards, when in reality you shouldn't be taking this Game Award show seriously at all. Because if the 2023 Game Award is anything to go off of, this should never be taken seriously at all, and it should really just mean nothing because of the nominations this year around. From them having an esports coach that didn't even do coaching this year, to putting a fucking single-player game in Best Ongoing, and Destiny 2 in Best Community Support. If that doesn't give you an example of why this shouldn't be taken seriously, I don't know what I can tell you, but I'm done wasting time. Let's go look at the salt. And before I forget to mention this in the video, the next video will be Xbox fanboys if I can get it over 10 minutes. If I can't, Harmon Smith has made another shitty video, so I'll criticize him. Now let's get on with Assault. The fact Baldur's Gate 3 won over this proves the Game Awards are rigged. Hey look, it's a good Spider-Man game. The actual Game of the Year got 0 awards. Man, holy rigged. The Game Awards was rigged in favor of Baldur's Gate. Change my mind. There is no way Baldur's Gate 3 got Game of the Year. Spider-Man 2 should have got it. This shit is rigged. That's right guys, when a game that you didn't want to win Game of the Year wins Game of the Year, it must have been rigged. It must have been a ploy by Jeff himself to make that decision. It was clearly paid for. It was clearly biased towards Baldur's Gate this year around. God forbid a game trying to do something different and succeeding at what it's trying to do actually does something good and wins Game of the Year. God forbid something good ever happens. Breaking. Baldur's Gate 3 wins Game of the Year at #TheGameAwards. God, this person is fucking stupid, but anyway, let's just read what he said. Baldur's Gate 3 over Spider-Man 2 has to be the biggest joke of the year. Who actually played that game? Yes, who actually played that game? Over 443,000 people with an overwhelmingly positive review count and a 96% overwhelmingly positive reviews. Nobody has ever played it. And let's not forget to mention 90,000 recent reviews with a 98% positive rating. I don't know what to tell you, but I think a lot of people have played this game and really seem to like it. So these next 2 tweets that I'll be responding to are a bit off topic, but they're still pretty funny to react to nonetheless, so I thought I would just include them. So I'm not going to read the entire thing because it's a bit long, but I'm just going to give you the too long didn't read. Baldur's Gate 3 was the best-selling game on Steam and GOG. Baldur's Gate 3's concurrent player count was 537,000 on its release day, and peaked at 875,000 concurrent players on its second weekend after release. So I'm not going to read any more of that. If you want to pause the video and actually look at that tweet, you can go ahead and take a look at it, but the thing that we'll be responding to is genuinely depressing. So this retard with an anime profile picture and Twitter blue, what can you guess is only a good opinion coming your way, says, Larian Studios is owned by Tencent, a Chinese company, and it was confirmed most of those players were bots. I know it's a bit off topic, but I thought I would add it in when I was scrolling for Salt, I found this, and I just could not, it just has to be fucking rage bait. There is no way you can be this stupid. If you actually look up who Larian Studios is owned, or well, got Baldur's Gate published by, it wasn't even Tencent. I did 2 seconds of fucking research, and I already know more about this company than this guy fucking said in one tweet. This has to just be fucking rage bait. There is no way around it. Well, let's get back on topic to the Game Awards being rigged. Spider-Man 2 or Resident Evil 4 deserve to go to way more. They are masterpieces. Baldur's Gate 3 is overrated as fuck. Yes, if a game that I don't like wins Game of the Year, it must be overrated. It must have been rigged. It must have been in the favor of Baldur's Gate, when honestly in my eyes, I thought Baldur's Gate was going to win regardless because, it was just pretty obvious that the game was that good and that a lot of people really liked the game. But I guess apparently people thought other games are going to compete with it. Maybe that's just me. The only game that I could ever see competing with Baldur's Gate would be Tears of the Kingdom, as it seems like it was the only other game that made a pretty big impact this year. I'm not too sure about Spider-Man 2 or Alan Wake. I didn't see much talk or buzz about that game, but I don't take much interest in those games, so I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. Ain't no way, I'm so mad right now. Off to a good start. That over Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Alan Wake 2. I'm sorry, but that's the biggest joke ever. I've said this so many times now, but why does anyone actually take the fucking Game Awards seriously? Like, I've already said it this video that there are many reasons why we shouldn't take the Game Awards seriously, and yet people do it. Like, come on, there's no reason to take these guys seriously. If you don't think a game should be Game of the Year, you've always got your own personal mindset on what should be Game of the Year. It shouldn't be that fucking hard. Don't let some shitter fucking journalist decide for you. Who cares if fucking Baldur's Gate Game of the Year? At the end of the day, you may not agree with it, and even though I may not have agreed with other Game of the Years in the past, I didn't care about it as much as everyone. Because at the end of the day, I believe that there are better games than whatever got Game of the Year, so, I don't know, cry about it. Baldur's Gate 3 winning Game of the Year over this is crazy. Have you ever noticed that a lot of these PlayStation fanboys don't ever use gameplay of Spider-Man 2 but use cutscenes? And then a lot of people ask me, why do you call Spider-Man a movie game? It's because most of their scenes are done within cutscenes. Like, most of the big plot point moments are all cutscenes, where some games would give you some level of control. I will never understand how people sit there and just say that they want to watch cutscenes all the time and have very little gameplay while mashing 3 buttons while going from point A to B. So that tweet was just context for what he actually said after that, which, it's gonna depress me that I have to argue this guy that he's fucking stupid, but, we're just gonna show you the tweet, and you can just, cry about it like I will. Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay, and you show 2 dice. No shit, it's a turn-based game, and yet you think this is a knock on it? I would prefer a turn-based game over the slop that Spider-Man 2 is, because all you have to do into that one is just fucking press like 3 or 4 buttons to do anything, and that is it. You're not sitting there taking into consideration your environment and the best way to attack, and that's what turn-based is really good at. You get rewarded for thinking smart. I was gonna make a joke about how they're just glorified movies, but I think I've done it to death at this point, and I think you really do just understand that. What the fuck's the point anymore? I don't even understand why people are trying to argue this. Like, I don't think Spider-Man 2 was actually gonna get Game of the Year, because it was a very safe sequel. It didn't really innovate that much or really warrant anything that was too special. I thought it was okay. It had a lot of political messaging in it, but that was pretty much it. I don't think it was really worth much. So the next tweet we'll be taking a look at is, my god, it's horrendous, because the logic they use is just very stupid, and I think I'll just let it speak for itself. The biggest reason Spider-Man 2 lost GOTY was because it was a PlayStation exclusive, when not everybody got a PS5. We'll continue it again in a second, but that argument is fucking stupid. PlayStation has the most awards out of all the gamer shows combined. They have 2 Game of the Years because of their exclusives. It was not because they were a PlayStation exclusive. That should have been their benefit. But oh no, because it was a PlayStation exclusive, that must have been the problem, I don't even know how the fuck you come to that logic. So let's get back to reading the rest of it. Baldur's Gate 3 was on every single platform. It released on Xbox the same day as the Game Awards. It had a wider global audience it could depend on. Spider-Man 2 was a phenomenal game, but it was the vocal minority. That's right, guys, one of the most popular superheroes ever is in the vocal minority. It was lesser compared to Baldur's Gate, even though it is one of the biggest superhero franchises ever, and probably sells millions of copies every time the game come out, whether or not I agree the game is good or bad. I'm actually kinda curious now to see what these game sales are actually like for both of these games to see how well they both performed, but I guess I'll look into it later after this video. Let's move on to the last and final bit of salt from the Game Awards itself. Oh, it's not a tweet. It's a 20-second video, so sit back and enjoy.
Have you ever played Baldur's Gate 3? Have you ever played Baldur's Gate 3? People were lining up outside buying PlayStation 5s for Spider-Man. We had Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Venom! Stop! Nobody played Baldur's Gate 3, man! Nobody!
I like how halfway through the video he genuinely looks upset about this. You can't be taking this shit seriously. There's no way that you... Like, how do you go to yourself every day and say to yourself that this is a reasonable course of action that you should take when reacting to something that you don't like? Or that you thought should have won Game of the Year? There's no reasonable sense of action that you should start acting like a fucking child. Like, the only time that I've ever seen a game that I didn't agree getting Game of the Year was Last of Us 2 because of how much, you know, shit what happened around that game and how the game got leaked and all the shit. And people were getting upset about the game and what they did to certain characters. Even I can agree, I don't feel like that game actually deserved a Game of the Year. But as time has gone on, a lot more people have kind of agreed that it has. Some of us still maintain that same opinion, but I left it at that. That is it. I didn't cry about Last of Us 2 getting Game of the Year because I didn't really care that much. So, oh no, Baldur's Gate got Game of the Year, cry about it. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, I'll see you next time if I do, hopefully, an Xbox fanboy video, but if not, I don't know, see you when Harmon Smith appears on your screen again. I mean, I wouldn't want that on my screen either, but you know, deal with it, I guess I'm gonna have to as well. So, goodbye.